And hello once again, the name's LC Lupus with Nerd Hazzard, where we play games and talk about things and what have you. This is Doom 3, the BFG edition. However, I just finished playing Doom 3, and so I thought, how about a little kind of like a more of a quick little extra dip into Doom 1. Whoa, okay. Quick dip into Doom 1. It's been a while. First episode. I'll just go with not too rough, which I think is like a medium difficulty. Okay, I can't remember the buttons that well. It's been a while. So the idea was that seeing as I have just played, Doom 3, why not play Doom 1, but this time I'm going to do it kind of in a different style. No cuts, no edits, or that kind of description. Let me just check. Okay, it's not that button. What is shoot? What is shoot? Okay, tab is that. Is it? Okay. Oh, they do actually have mouse support. Okay, well that's nice at least. That's good. It's good that they've got that. Okay, cool. So I can play with like a mouse and keyboard rather than just the more traditional without a mouse type vibe. Okay, so Doom 1, I will say immediately, right off the cuff, much. I have a more. I don't actually have that much nostalgia necessarily for Doom 1. Like, I didn't grow up playing Doom 1. I didn't have it as a child or anything like that. But I played it properly all the way when I got the BFG edition, which was like 2012 or something like that. However, I do enjoy it more, and I think that it's a more interesting game to actually play than Doom 2, than Doom 3. I mean, Doom 2 is like a sort of development of Doom 1, where it sort of just had some upgrades, improvements, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna kind of play Doom 1, and also I'm gonna do Doom 2 in sort of the second video. But the idea there with these games is that I'm not gonna play it all the way. I'm just going to basically play. I'm over there. So okay, cool. So the idea is I'm just gonna kind of play it in any kind of I'm gonna play it until I get bored, because I will say one of the things about Doom 1 and Doom 2, which also Doom 3 kind of held on to annoyingly, at least according to me it's annoyingly, is that Doom 1, there we go, the shotgun, and there you get his face going, argh. The shotgun is always satisfying in this game, unlike in Doom 3, which is fine. Doom 3 is fine. It's fine. It's a very average game. It's very mediocre. To me. I know there's people that love it for some reason. But the thing, basically, that is the problem with Doom 1 and 2, to me, for somebody with a more modern, is these little things right here. Right? The key cards. The keys. The keys, in the early levels, it's manageable of what you're sort of doing. Right, it is actually manageable where you're going, what you're doing, all that kind of stuff. But as you continue to play, it becomes harder because there's just more and more and more of these keys that are sort of all over the place, and they are hidden in labyrinthian areas, so it becomes really annoying to try and actually play through, because you end up getting lost a lot, or at least that's my experience, obviously. Other people might have completely different experiences, because I enjoy the gameplay, I enjoy the shooting of Doom 1 and 2, I just feel like the labyrinthian style actually detracts a lot from it, to me. Obviously, that's not going to be the experience of other people. Doom 1 and 2 are two of the most influential games of all time. Like, they will be staunch supporters forever which is good because I would say it deserves it. Doom 1 and 2 are very important games. Very important. Important, influential, all those kinds of words. They're also just enjoyable in general. And they have a kind of timeless quality to them, which I love. Like, they are timeless. You can continue playing these kind of things forever. The art style, yes, of course, you can be like, no, well, this art style is very old and whatever. You can say that. But it's also kind of ageless in the sense that it's become you could take out 2 at once. That's pretty good. It's ageless in the idea that it will always sort of stand up, even though, yeah, of course, the visuals have moved on, like, you now get more realistic visuals and everything like that. But that doesn't matter, because what you're actually looking at, usually when you're looking at these kind of visuals, is a more stylized presentation. And when it comes to a stylized presentation, you're actually fine with having, it not look super realistic, because super realistic is actually not desirable. Because super realistic, say, ages. Super realistic visuals and what have you, they age. This doesn't really age because it just kind of always looks good. It always looks like a specific style. Always. That's like also the kind of thing that you'll find with, like, Mario Brothers and stuff like that. Yes, of course, games look better, but they don't have that kind of visual language that just makes them so unique in comparison to what they are now. Where, well, obviously you get a lot of very, very unique looking games as well. You get a lot of absolutely stunning games, and that will never not be the case, because people are always pushing the envelope. But what's actually quite great is that a lot of games like this, the games that it's inspired, like, you get games that have been inspired by stuff like this. Like, there's a great little game called Impaler, which is a little indie. It's a great experience. It's fun. It's a fun little experience. It's not like it has the sort of visual trappings of something like Doom 1, Doom 1 and Doom 2, which have the same basic visual language. But the thing that makes it different is that it still has actually a 3D. It's actually proper 3D, because this isn't actually 3D. It's one of the things about, like, Doom 1 and 2. So it's not actually 3D. It's sort of emulating 3D. It's more like 2.5D, as some people will call it, because it's more like your 2D sprites on a 3D plane, which is not quite the same as being full 3D. Quake went into that kind of direction instead, where it went into the full 3D realm. And Quake has aged significantly more, I would say. And most people would say, I think, also, if you just looked at it, if you looked at the visual language of this game, and you looked at the visual language of Quake, I think most people would just sort of say, yeah, Doom looks better. It just looks better. Because that kind of style just doesn't age in that sense, which is great and cool, and also means, and because of the very, very simple gameplay, it kind of anyone can just pick it up. Like, I had to sit for a little bit because I wasn't sure if it allowed for. I assumed that it didn't allow for mouse and keyboard, so I sat for a while and was like, okay, does it have a mouse and keyboard or not? I just assumed that it didn't. Because I think the original didn't have mouse and keyboard. So I just sort of assumed it didn't. And yeah. But it does. And so now it's literally just movement. There's no reloading. Which obviously in modern games, you don't really get many games that don't have any kind of reloading. Like, reloading is a very common thing you find in games throughout. But not in this. Because this is okay, I'm now at another area. Let's see. Oh, it's just so great. yeah, so Doom, and also in terms of Doom, I think that this kind of style, the nostalgia is moving in different directions, you know. So think about how, for instance, there was a lot of nostalgia at the beginning of sort of the indie era, when like indies really started to become big. Like there's always been indie games, but when I say the beginning of the indie era, I mean like, you know, people like Jonathan Blow sort of pioneering things with stuff like Braid and creating a stronger independent voice that was distinct and separate from completely distinct and separate from like the mainstream establishment of games, and how they are funded and how they are developed and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I can see where I have to go. But you see, this is also, I think, where it sort of starts already to get a little bit aggravating, because I have to be like, okay, where's the yellow key? Am I able to shoot this guy through here? Yeah, I am. Okay, cool. Well, there's the yellow key. I see the yellow key. Okay, it's over there. But this you can... Okay, and I need the blue key to get there, so we first find the blue key, and you can see it sort of becomes a bit aggravating to have to try and find where these keys are, because that becomes the major... So here's the blue key. This is still early on in the game. Okay, you see, now I've got a machine gun, which is just fun to play with. Like the shotgun. See, that's the thing. Every gun kind of just feels good to use in this game, as opposed to the guns in a lot of other games, which just don't feel very good. Such as Doom 3, which like I just finished playing again. Obviously, I had played it years ago, and then I played it again for Nerd Hazzard. You can check out the whole playthrough if you want. I'm very critical of the game while I play it. I'm not a fan. I'm afraid I'm just not a fan of Doom 3. And you see, I have this automatic impulse to... oh, you big guys, huh? There we go. Okay. I have this sort of automatic impulse to reload, because it's been so built into me that you need to reload. When, reloading obviously has a more realistic presentation to it. Like if you're going for a more realistic vibe, reloading is how guns work in the real world. You have to reload. But it's just not as... Like this has a stronger feel to it, in a sense, a more immediately visceral feel, because of a lot of things, but one of them is things like the lack of reloading, the fact that every gun feels good to use. They all feel enjoyable. Okay, there we go. I found the yellow one, so that's good. I don't know what that button did. Ah, that's what that button did. Okay, so I can just run straight across. Alright, well, I guess I've made it to the end of this level. The level's also really short, which obviously goes into the sort of mentality that was at the time. You know, this is the early 90s. It's kind of seen as the first person shooter. It's not really true. Like Wolfenstein 3D, which was made by id, is older. And not only that, but there's also some other things, you know. So it's, yeah, there's some that are kind of older but different, and not as, because this was the first one that really properly kicked off, and also I know solved a lot of things like parallax scrolling. And no, that was Commander Keen that did like parallax scrolling, I think. But which I don't know those things very well. I know them because of reading. There's a biography type thing about id Software, and the early days of id Software, and the development of a bunch of their things from Commander Keen all the way through to basically until Carmack was kicked out, and then went and made things like Daikatana, and then nothing until recently. I am not a particularly big fan of John Romero. It's a lot of people really seem to like John Romero. People still treat him like, rock and roll, like he's a rock star of the gaming industry, which, yeah, he's a rock star of the games industry, I suppose. He's one of the creators of Doom. Like, that's cool and everything. But my problem with Romero is essentially that there's two huge minds that were behind id in the old days. Two major minds that are sort of usually seen as contrasting with each other quite strongly. That's John Carmack and John Romero. John Carmack being the guy who developed a lot of the technology, and John Romero more the artsy guy, like artsy and business guy sort of thing. Like, he was the writer dude, and he made a lot of levels and everything, and he was interested in all that kind of stuff, Whereas Carmack was very much like, no, I want to make... is this going to crush me? Okay, it's not going to crush me. Oh, okay, just go straight back down. Okay, well, never mind, that was useless. So yeah, Carmack was just mostly interested, really, in making the sort of tech stuff behind it all. He really wanted to just be able to, like, make these 3D engines, and he was kind of a genius at that kind of stuff. Wait, no, I was just there. So now I'm like, okay, where do I have to actually go? That button, turn those down, and then, I don't really know. See, already it's getting to that point when I wander around a bit and see if there's anything else I can do. Let's see. But yeah, the two of them were very distinct from one another, I would say. Carmack was methodical, deeply methodical, to a fault in many ways. But also that allowed him to be the kind of person that he is. And he was deeply methodical, and he didn't really necessarily understand human emotion particularly well, stuff like that. It's just not really just wasn't really his vibe, and Romero was much better at that. So when Doom got big, Romero was the guy who was often out there and sort of interacting with people and becoming rock starish, and there was also, I would say, he was allowing a bit of the sort of allowing the myth of a solo developer to take root a bit, of being sort of like, he made... The vibe, to me, was very much that, like, he made Doom and Wolfenstein and all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of the vibe that I feel what he was kind of pushing. Even though, of course, it's not just him. It was a whole team of people. And I would say Carmack had a lot more to do with it than really he did, especially by the later times when Romero got a little bit full of himself and was very much like, believed his own hype, which is always a dangerous thing. It's always a dangerous thing to believe your own hype. You should never do that. You should never think that you are as good as people say you are when your entire life apologies, when your entire life people have, well, for a large period of your time, people have been saying you're like, a genius and whatever. And he kind of leaned into that, I feel, a lot. And the thing that I really, really don't like, which is the thing that persists to this day, is that when you like see anything about him, about Romero, it's always like, yeah, creator, or like, co-creator, original designer, or whatever words they feel like using this week, of Doom, Doom 2, and Quake 1 and 2. And you're like, okay, but that's like what Quake 2 was, what, like 1998 or something? So what have you already done since then? And I feel like when you see anything with like sort of Carmack, he doesn't really care about the past. He's very much like, yeah, I did that. Like, whatever. I revolutionized gaming forever. But that was like 30 years ago. I have other things I'm interested in now. I like rockets, which is actually true. He likes rockets. And then he went into like doing Oculus stuff. Like he was big in the early days of developing a lot of that kind. I think he's now left to focus completely on rockets because it's like what he wants to really do now, I believe. But you know, the vibe there was very much that, you know, he was moving on with his life. He was actually trying new things and experimenting and learning and being willing to. I think this is the tree where I just went. Yes, it is. But is there? Am I supposed to go down here? I don't actually know, but let's try anyway. Open, come on. Supercharge. I don't know what that does, but I don't actually know if there's anywhere I can really go. Okay. Okay, so I've got a suit that shields me from this for a while, which is nice. You see now I'm already meandering around because you kind of don't really, well, I don't know where I'm going because I don't know these levels ludicrously well, like some people do, I'm sure. Wait, do these open? Do these open? Because these are blue. I have the blue. Huh. But yes, that's sort of my beef. It's my beef with Romero. I feel like it's very much like he's just stuck in the past. He's just where I literally just came from, right? Is literally where I just came from. I feel like it's a very stuck in the past mentality, like not really moving on, not really doing new things, trying new things, any of that kind of stuff, which I just find disappointing. Ultimately, I think as a creative person, you should always be moving forward, always be working towards your next project. And I think when you become fixated on the past and, you know, become fixated on this idea of what you have accomplished rather than what you can still accomplish, I just find it to be sort of deleterious to art in general and to the development of art and to the soul of the artist in general. I'm like, I feel like you're damaging your soul, for lack of a better word, by engaging in that kind of sort of that kind of self-fellatio. Essentially, you're so obsessed with yourself to the detriment of everything else that you're not really think, oh, okay, I don't have a yellow card. You see, I have to find another card. So yellow goes through here, but where is the yellow card? So now it's not up here. Yeah. But yeah, I just don't care for it. Which of course some people will be like, oh well, shame. He's yeah, just because he peaked in his 20s, I suppose, when he made Doom and everything, and then he went off and told everyone that he was going to make the greatest games like of all time, and he funded and ultimately, I suppose you could say, published of Deus Ex, which is pretty great. But while he did do Deus Ex, he didn't do Deus Ex. His one half of his company made Deus Ex with somebody else at the helm. He made Daikatana, which is usually considered to be one of the worst games ever made. So, you know, that's what he did directly after. That's what he did directly after his major successes. He has made some stuff now, it looks like. I think him and his wife have made some stuff. His wife is also an accomplished game developer. So I think that they have made some stuff together. I know he made a crime game recently, which I was really, really glad to see. I was like, that's great. I'm glad that he is making something other than, but then I saw he made Sigil, which is just another Doom thing. And I'm like, my guy, come on, move on. Doom is a friend, a cultural juggernaut all on its own and without you, and it has moved on. Doom also isn't what it was, you know. Doom isn't not what it was when he was there. Doom is a very, very different product now. It's very different. Okay, I think I found a new... there we go. Found the yellow. Yay. Okay, found the yellow. But yeah, it's a very, very different thing to what it used to be. It's a very different franchise. It's not at all... for instance, this kind of labyrinthian nonsense where I have to go and find this kind of stuff. It's moved into a different direction where I think it's actually finally for the first time kind of found itself. That's how I feel about it, at least. that it has actually finally found itself and what it actually is. That's how I feel, personally, about the new Dooms. I think that they've found what they actually are, and always were meant to be, in a way, which is great. Like, I love it. Obviously, people do agree, because it's the people really, really love the 2016 Doom and the follow-ups and everything. People do really like those, it seems. So that's good. It's showing new stuff, and I like that. I like new stuff. I like it when people. That doesn't mean I don't have respect for the old. Obviously, like, I will always have reverence for something like Doom 1, Quake, all sorts of old games. I'm very much I'm the kind of person that mostly just watches old movies, So I'm not saying don't have reverence for the old. I'm saying if you are a creative, don't become fixated on the old, because there is always a path forward for you. And if you get stuck in your old successes and do nothing else, I think that that's a creative blockage in your system. And I don't think you'll ever truly improve and become a better artist until you have moved past that. Like, I don't think you will move past it until you have figured out, how to exist also without, say, for instance, those kinds of accolades that you got from. There's one of these guys in here. Yeah, I can see you. Where are you? Is he dead? Oh, he is dead. Okay. I think it's good to learn to move past those kinds of things. Anyway, okay, wait, we've got to exit here. Let me just see how long I've actually been playing. No, go away. I think that's actually good for Doom 1. I think, I'm still enjoying it, but I think that's enough of the game. I think I've had enough. It is a great game. Still, I still love it. So that's great. And you sort of rambled about other stuff, but maybe some interesting stuff. You never know. I think I might go in a similar direction in Doom 2 video, which is going to be, I'm going to record directly after this, I think. Just because I've got, it going still. So yeah. Go check that out if you want, and check out the other stuff on Nerd Hazzard. All my friends are here making stuff. We're all doing games and doing all the kind of stuff, and we're all creative people, and we're all fun people, and maybe you like it. So this has been LC Lupus, and hope you have a great day further. Goodbye.